Our position has always been, continues to be, the 1954 treaty agreement we have with Taiwan, where the United States should continue to honor that commitment of 1954 in protecting and assisting Taiwan for their own independence. However, on the pending trip for the President to China, we feel that Red China should not be admitted to the United Nations at this time because they do not meet the requirements of the Charter to begin with. And we also would ask the government to tread lightly in the area of trade, particularly strategic trade, such as maybe these 707s they're talking about that could be converted into military weapons. But as long as the objective of the United States government is peace in the world, we must not rule out dialogue with 700 million people.
There is so much unused capacity in the economy, idle plant and idle facilities and idle labor. The demand added by that kind of stimulus would be met by an increase in production, not by more inflation. And because that kind of budget would stimulate and raise tax revenues, the net effect on the federal deficit would be very small indeed compared with the increase in that deficit that we've seen over the last 7 months.
The Clean Sweep program involves withholding financial and other support from and voting against every elected state and federal office holder, from precinct chairman to president, regardless of their party affiliations and regardless of whether the office they hold has any direct connection with the policies followed in the public school system, until such time as all forced busing of any school children in Dallas is eliminated.
We were confronted with the need to make a decision whether to move that BYU game back to the campus in Denton or to keep it in the Dallas area, which of course was our original motive in signing a contract with Texas Stadium. We felt that if the original decision had been a sound one to bring our football team to the metropolitan area, it remained a sound one, and Cotton Bowl is obviously a fine place to play a football game.
Well, what kind of problems will changing at this late date from Texas Stadium to the Cotton Bowl, what kind of problems will that be with tickets and with letting people know and problems like that?
Well, I would hope that the public knowledge part of it would be quite simple, just through the media and so forth. The ticket arrangements represent one reason that we chose the Cotton Bowl. We can most readily approximate the seating in Texas Stadium with a similar size stadium at the Cotton Bowl. Had we gone back to Fouts Field in Denton with its 20,000 capacity, we would have enjoyed more difficulty in offering comparable seats. This way we can offer comparable seating to the season ticket purchasers.
We would never consider any collaboration with the American Federation of Teachers. We think that the organizations representing teachers should remain independent voices representing the teaching profession. We have nothing against the American labor movement, but we do not think the teaching profession should be under the control of the AFL-CIO. And for an example, this happened 2 years ago during the General Electric strike. The AFT sent out lesson plans to its members about what to teach about the GE strike. And this just flies in the face of of things that professional teachers believe in.
He was very concerned about employment for his wife.
Is that the only reason he gave?
This is very true. He did make a statement that someone had, it was made clear that without her employment, speaking of his wife, I would not accept the position. But this was not with me. I don't know who promised him a job. I knew nothing of it.
What will happen now? Do you have other names, other persons that are being considered for the job that are in the forefront?
We have the resumes of several good people. We did narrow the situation down to 11, and then finally the top 5. We have some very good people.
Are any of them from Fort Worth?
Sure they.
This is the Colony Club on Commerce Street in downtown Dallas. It is not New Orleans, it is not Bourbon Street, but tonight the chaplain of Bourbon Street, the Reverend Bob Harrington, is preaching. He is preaching to the strippers, he is preaching to the patrons, he is preaching the message he has brought to Bourbon Street, New Orleans, and the country for the past 11 years. Let's go inside, see what this man sounds like in his own environment.
Hey, I won't take much of your time because I know you didn't come to the Colony Club to hear a preacher, but I'll just say I'm glad to be here. How do you like my choir? Lord, what a solo you can sing. Well, we want to thank you for letting me take these few moments. Of course, down on Bourbon Street, that's quite a good street for a preacher because we got some misters and misses and mistakes on that street. We got some he's and she's and shims, and in fact, we got some people you can hardly tell which from the whats. And it's embarrassing on me as a Baptist preacher to have to marry a couple of these weirdos when you can't tell the boy from the girl and you think they're praying about which is what. So I had to marry this couple the other day, and there's no doubt about you two being girls. I want you to know right now that the Lord did a good job when he made you. But let me tell you, I had to marry this couple, so I just leaned them up against the wall, and they were dressed alike, they looked alike, they smelled alike, the hair was alike, the clothes alike. So I took my Bible and I said, well, whichever one you are, take whichever one this is to be whatever y'all gonna be, because nowadays you really don't know. And after I finished marrying the couple, I said, now will one of you kiss the bride? And that really did floor him. But you know, I thank God I found out who I am, where I'm going, and what I'm doing, and I found out how to live and how to give and how to share, how to have a home instead of a house, how to be a man instead of a mouse, how to be something instead of nothing. And maybe these few moments I've said will help each one of us to take an inventory that our lives could be more like they ought to be for the Lord and less like they've been being for ourselves. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You did a marvelous job. Thank you. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
I think he ought to either change the economic policies of this administration, or I think he ought to make it clear he's joining it up. I think probably that, as I've said before, that President Nixon will choose Secretary Connally as his running mate in 1972, and I hope he does, because Secretary Connally is not my kind of a Democrat.
This ensures the man by state law that these guidelines are set up by the state legislature. It is a minimum guideline that the cities have to abide by, and this ensures the man that he will be free from any political pressures. Promotional examinations are fair and just. There's no way that any pressures at all could be involved in it.
Now, this is a good plan, according to both of your associations. Many other cities have adopted it. Why is the Irving City Council against it?
Well, I'm not really sure. From all the benefits that I can see from it, it would be beneficial to the council, to the city administration, to the citizens of Irving. When you have a civil service act, I think it's attractive to the higher caliber type of young man that's coming up these days, and they're not always looking at the salary factor. A lot of them are looking at the benefits, the security that they have, and the promotional system that you have to offer.
You know, every weekend there's people that attack cops with guns in clubs, and they get filed on for, you know, a misdemeanor assault on a police officer. And me, because I yelled at a cop, I got a 3-year felony, you know, sentence. And you know, this is the first time I've ever even been to court before. You know, it's a pure case of harassment, as I've been saying for the last 3 years. As many times as I've been arrested, it's the first time I've ever even been to court.
What do you expect will be the outcome of your appeal?
Well, eventually, I imagine we'll win it. There's enough reversible error in the case now, and I think the law is probably unconstitutional, and eventually, when, you know, we go through the whole bureaucratic judicial process, I expect to be set free, and of course the city's going to be, you know, look like fools again.
converting the Senate from a reactionary body to one where workers' problems are considered and concerned certainly has been an accomplishment, not just for me, but of Texas labor. I think changing the attitudes of the public about us, that we are concerned about the broad spectrum of the whole community, that we are involved in matters besides just our own personal and selfish interests. We have championed more public causes than we really have, in some cases, that of the union worker.
The theme of this convention is we have a job to do in 72. What do you see as the primary job?
Well, I think, of course, I've said it. The primary job is to get this fellow that's in the White House and all the idiots that surround him out of power before they destroy the whole economic fabric of this country. They have the silliest game plan of economics that we've seen since the crash of '29. Not only are workers complaining, but business people who supported this man are complaining.
I'd say that it's a very conservative, well, it's a balanced budget, but it is conservative. There are no big new spending programs, no big improvements in services. There are a few minor improvements in services that we're providing or recommending in the most critical areas, police protection and so forth. But by and large, it's merely a continuation of programs that the city is presently carrying on at the current service level.
Roger, there are two primary increases, one in the size of the budget and one in the tax rate. Could you explain those and tell what the figures are?
The total increase in the budget for next year is approximately $3,900,000. The proposed financing of the general fund includes a recommended 15-cent tax rate increase. That's 15 cents per $100 valuation.
A recent study shows that
I think there are two approaches to it. One is to give an all-out effort to help these young men obtain useful employment, get them occupied. And the Veterans of Foreign Wars is very interested in this. We have service officers in every state, every community where we can get them. And the political subdivisions like the cities and the state are going all out to help. And then another thing is education and training. If we can get these young men into training, whether it be mechanical or some technical training, or to complete their education, I think this is going to help, and all of us are working in this direction.
We would like for the people in the downtown area, if at all possible, to plan on being out of the downtown area before 6:30 p.m. on the Tuesday, August 18th. The parade route will be on Ackard Street from Memorial Auditorium, north on Ackard to Commerce, east on Commerce past Reviewing Stand at Lane to Harwood Street, north on Harwood to Main, west on Main to Griffin, where the buses will pick up the ones that end the parade.
What advice would you have for people who are working downtown?
I would advise trying to get off work a little early if possible, and being out of the downtown area if they want to go on home. If they want to stop to stay and see the parade, that'd be fine with us.
But if they want to get home, they better clear out.
That might be advisable.
Six months ago, the chapel and the kitchen of the United Briarwood Methodist Church here in Plano lay in shambles after an early morning fire struck it. To show their dedication, the congregation went ahead and held services that cold February morning. Today, they turned a new page in the history of the church. Pastor Dan Klimple held rededication services for the building and celebrated the church's 5th anniversary. In keeping with the best traditions of churches, there will be a covered dish supper later tonight where the congregation will get together and commune with each other and celebrate the rebuilding of the church. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move in Plano. What's involved in quick draw competition?
Well, you have to be able to draw fast and hit the target too. A lot of people think as long as you just draw fast, that's fine, and you have to hit the target though to stop the timer. See, it's timed electrically, and it's broken down in hundredths of a second. And it involves practice. We have clubs, and we usually meet once a week.
Is there a special technique that you use?
Not really. Not for me.
What does an expert visual artist think about the movies and television serials?
Not much.
Why?
Well, they can do fantastic things with movies, you know, making people look a lot faster than what they are. And I really have my doubts that most of these people are that fast. We never see them at the contest.